That's really interesting because if you have a listen to that new section, she's really tuned that up.
Take me to things in your fantasies, my zeros, bitter energies, like narcissists, the price of...
So that's that note that she overshot before.
Sound check.
Well, hello again. My name is Dr. Dan. Welcome back to another vocal analysis here at Voice Essentials. And once again, Nightwish, Floor Jansen. I'm running out of superlatives, adjectives, descriptive words to describe just how wonderful Floor is. So hopefully today's analysis is not just, rinse and repeat, although I suspect it will be because she's amazing. This is a performance of Yours Is an Empty Hope. It was done in Mexico City for a DVD recording. In fact, you'll hear Floor announce that. I think back in 2015, was it? For the Endless Forms Most Beautiful World Tour. This is, it's a highly energized beginning for because I take it this is the first song of the show. Equally, it might be the second, and I because I don't know. You will know. There will be people watching this video who know, because it could well be that they came out, did a 2 or 3, 1, 2 or 3 song mini set, really got going, and then she has introed at that point. Regardless, it's at the beginning of the show. Whether it's the first song, I don't know. Someone's going to tell us. Leave your comments below. It's amazing. It's a highly energetic piece, and I think that's my takeaway from having done as you know, I listen to these pieces before I look at things like pitch. We'll have a look at that a little bit later. And you hear that level of drive in this sound, which is not a lot of what we've reviewed of Floor's voice prior to now here on the channel. A lot of it has had that very balanced, classic, sort of leaning towards operatic sound to it. She moves in and out of the contemporary drive, but this one is far more lent the other way. It is very contemporary, very driven, and it's great. Let's dive in and let her sing for herself.
Thank you very much! Welcome to the second show here, but the very first DVD recording, and you're part of it! So this will be a special night with us and you, all right?
Let's it's so good. I'm not going to take it all the way back to the beginning because it's mostly that musical, awesome musical intro. But let's get the pitch bit out of the way really early on this one. I suspect this hasn't been heavily altered, imposed, if any. And we can hear that. Have a listen to the vocal by itself, just the isolated stem.
Tear me to bits and join the scene of screaming verbal vanity.
So hear that? That note's not like it. She overshoots that note by literally a tone. You can see how the voice wanders there. I'll let it play through.
The words in beautiful, your tongue running water running my bridge. You have the world, it's all for you. I wish you'd find the loss in you.
It hasn't been played with. If it has, it hasn't been played with heavily because the voice is very much giving us that raw live sound, and there are some inaccuracies here. Have a listen again.
You have the world, it's all for you. I wish you'd find the loss in you. When the father pain place where you are, could you feel it?
That note there.
Could you feel it?
Yeah. If let's just, again, we always say it's a crude way to do it, but let's just fix that to like center pitch.
You have the world, it's all for you. I wish you'd find the loss in you. When the father pain place where you are, could you feel it? In my bridge, you have the world, it's all for you. I wish you'd find the loss in you. When the father pain place where you are, could you feel it?
When we take it back to the original, released pitch, it for me it has that energy and that human, let's go for it sort of sound. Whereas when you again change the pitch in the crude way that I did, it strips it of that, and so in this particular instance, I personally at this point in the song don't detect any sense that the voice has been terribly corrected. I've said it before, I don't know how she gets away. She does. That's really interesting because if you have a listen to that new section, isolated, she's really tuned that up.
Take me to fixing your fantasies, like zeros, bitter energies, like narcissists who breaks.
So that's that note that she overshot before. So she's really tuned in. It's still not robotic in its tuning. If we do the nasty, you can see it's not robotic at all.
Take me to fixing your fantasies, like zeros, bitter energies, like narcissists who breaks a pool, a hollow voice ruled with the room.
you can see how another thing to be made the point of here is that you can see how when I did a very crude adjustment of pitch and we had to listen to it, you can see that if you weren't A, B, comparing, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that someone has been able to go in and play with the pitch, because all you would hear is B, that altered pitch, and you go, man, she is just bang on like the whole way. But, I love it when bands like Nightwish and their engineering team, their production team don't. It leaves, again, I talk about the sanitation of good vocals all the time. And I love the fact that these vocals are being left. They're far from raw, aren't they? They sound amazing, but raw in their initial state. I love it. Got a great drive to have, keeping that real metal sound. That's interesting, isn't it? That's really interesting. That sounds like they have given it the room, like that's like the room recording, as in they've mic'd the room, and I think for the, in part for the clap and for the audience participation. And so what we're hearing there is then they've taken her vocal out of the mix, as in her direct vocal, and all we're hearing is front of house and the audience. That's what I suspect is going on. Let's have a listen to that again. So interesting. Then up comes her actual mic. There is no reason why suddenly you wouldn't have it unless it's been post-mixed and they've decided to, and as you would for a DVD, to give that sort of ambient room participatory sort of sense, which is awesome. Yeah, cool. Up they bring the mix. I wonder if we can have a look at the distortion there in Viva Voce. If we go to...
Yes! Is!
So you can see here, see how much distortion we're getting through the sound, right? Right down here, we're getting the fundamental, right down at the bottom, and then we've got these overtones happening, but because of the level of distortion, there's not a lot of clarity between the overtones, and so we don't get a clear tone.
Yes! Yes!
So that's interesting, isn't it? See how we can see that had less distortion in it, but we're getting, and as a result, we're getting a bit more distinction between the overtones.
Yes! Yes!
So really cool to see the definition and the difference between clean tone and distorted tone. We'll let it run on a little bit just to see if we can get any more clean vocal out of it.
I can let you have the walls of fire.
And there we go. You can see that really cleaner tone. And you can see, so when we've got the distortion, you can see the disruption in the air, and that gives us that distorted, disturbed value, as Melissa Cross likes to call it. And you get that really disturbed air in the vocal tract, and that's why we get that distorted sound from. What is interesting to me, though, is as I'm looking at this, I'm not seeing a lot of, gross, overactivated false fold activity. Often when we've got, really heavy constriction going on, you'll see a thin blue line between the overtones, but here we're not seeing that. We see a really nice, clean separation of overtones. It's good singing.
Thank you.
It's cool, and it shows when we looked at the spectrogram there, it does give us some insights into why singers like Floor are able to create these distorted vocal values on a consistent basis over time. Is that they're not creating particularly, and they're not creating heavily constricted tone. And we see that, in part when we go to the cleaner tone, the voice isn't all tightened up and locking up. We're still the voice is still able to produce a clean, healthy, sustainable sound. And that's why she's Queen Floor, I guess. I hope you've enjoyed today's vocal analysis, and I do very much look forward to seeing you in the next one. There'll be more Nightwish, so make sure if you're into Nightwish, please subscribe to the channel. But we do review a very broad variety of voices here, not just symphonic metal, heavy metal vocal, but everything from music theatre right through pop, jazz at times, rock, indie folk. We try to cover it all. Because we love listening to great singers and learning from what they do, and that's what we'll do in the next vocal analysis. When hopefully I'll see you then. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.